What obsolete technology is still surprisingly useful? I've changed the batteries in my calculator once in 30 years. Walkie-talkies are still very useful, despite cell phones existing with a seemingly similar function. I have oil lamps and boxes of kitchen matches in 5 rooms. Besides being pretty antiques, they are good for power outages. Mechanical buttons in car dashboards. I don't know why every control has to be accessed by a touch screen. I have a dictaphone I keep by my bed. I sleep poorly and use an old iPod with podcasts and a pillow speaker to try and sleep. Sometime I think of things or remember things, or a podcast inspires something, so I record it. Sometimes it is days later I download it and I am really amazed how useful my past self can be. I always thought he was an S. Wired headphones. Zero interference and no need to charge. Just have to find a phone or device that has a jack. Analog radios. I still borrow DVDs from my local library. Cheapest streaming service there is, and with infallible quality control. They don't have bad movies. Edit, by quality I mean the movie itself, not the condition of the DVD. Yes, scratched discs are a problem, but since I started giving them a good wipe every time, I haven't had an issue. People laugh at me for still holding onto my DVDs and Blu-rays, especially since I also like to stream, but when the office gets moved around to a new service for the umpteenth time and they don't want to take 5 minutes to find a way to pirate it, they'll be grateful for my box set. Mechanical clocks. Power does go out now and then. As a student pilot, maps. So far in my training, we've been using maps as our main source of navigation and GPS as a sort of backup. This could just be because I'm a student, and this might change when I'm a licensed pilot. Pager. Still used by the medical profession because it's more reliable in the hospitals where cell phones get no reception. I have my grandmother's hand crank meat grinder from Germany. I use it only occasionally to grind actually meat, but if I'm making nut butter, running it through the meat grinder initially saves a lot of time, as well as wear and tear on the blender. COBOL, all the folks who know it are dying off and banks still run on it. https://www.pcmag.com/articles/ibms-plan-to-update-cobol-with-watson. Pagers. After working at a hospital I can say those dams keep you updated faster than smartphones. iPod/MP3/MP4 player. Phones can work in a similar way, but with their battery capacity, it's better to have a separate device for music or audiobooks. Physical paper calendars. Nothing beats the feeling of having a physical calendar on the wall which you can write on and check in an instant without having to pull out your phone. It's even better if you grew up with physical calendars. AM radio and ham radio. Zune. I can leave it anywhere and no one will steal it. Of course they don't know what it is either. CDs. Only our most recent car is post-CD player and I kind of want to buy an external one. We have a huge CD case and they're so nice on road trips. No signal issues, no cues or playlists to make, better sound quality, just pop one in and enjoy the songs the way the band intended. Microfilm and microfiche. I work at a public library reference department, and every day I'm showing somebody how to use these beauties. Some of our holdings, particularly our microfilmed scrapbooks and defunct newspapers, aren't practically available in any other medium. Not to mention, online newspaper archives are also at the whim and financial survival of the publisher, as we've found out to our chagrin. Our local newspaper stopped microfilming itself 6 years ago, and the originals we keep are growing more yellowed by the day. They also take up as much room as 3 microfilm cabinets, each of which can probably hold up to 480 reels of 35mm film. Books. Actual printed books. My 1996 Kylie Minogue calendar can be used this year. Every 28 years the days match up. For me, pen and paper. I prefer to write down stuff rather than type. I don't know why. Don't know if it counts as technology, but double-edged safety razors. The shaves are so much better and hell of a lot cheaper than the multi-blade cartridge razors. You can get a whole box of blades that will last a year for like $10. Unlike the $30 or more, it costs for like 3 replacement cartridge blades. Printed maps. The number of times my phone has died while exploring a city has made me either memorize a city map or get a printed city map. Read the entire thread. Nothing you guys have written is actually obsolete. Some dude said pencils are obsolete. Landline phones. I know they still exist, but we don't even have one. Sometimes wish I did when battery is dead or issues with connection. Landline phones are more reliable. My fountain tip pens. I haven't had to replace a pen in nearly a decade. I have refillable cartridges, so the bottle I'm currently on is about 6 years old. ITT people mentioning a bunch of things which are anything but obsolete, only not new. Having a map, and being able to actually read it. Just the basics of orientation and map reading are still so valuable. If navigation went down overnight, I don't think even 10% of people could get to their jobs even with a map. Let alone having any basic understanding of a compass or the being able to at least find the rough cardinal directions based of the stars. I'd say any basic practical knowledge like this is becoming more and more rare. Living in southeastern NC, where we get hit with a lot of hurricanes and bad storms that constantly knock out our power. Candles. Landline phones. People think they are obsolete, but they work where cell phones don't. They don't need bars. They don't need charging. They don't even need electricity, so you can call emergency services when the power goes out for extended periods of time. You can also fax through a phone line, which you can't with a cell phone. Faxes for the medical industry. It's a surprisingly quick and secure way to transfer patient records. It's all done digitally now, for the most part, and can easily be converted into PDFs. Bow drill. Regular old watches. Wear one every day for time, and so I don't have to fool with my phone. Manual transmission vehicles, often jokingly referred to as a millennial/American anti-theft device. Mechanical controls, such as buttons, dials, and switches. In the event of a failure, they're supposed to be easier to fix than digital controls, such as touch screen displays. Gas and wood/coal burning. I can still operate a gas stove during a power outage. I can heat my house with a wood-burning stove during a power outage. A gas stove can heat up faster than electric. This next one is more subjective, but food cooked on coal can taste better than food cooked on an electric griddle. Years ago, in Kabul, Afghanistan, I did business with 2 Afghan Jews, purchasing maybe 20 or 30 bolts of material at a time. I had my trusty Bomar calculator, rechargeable and everything. The old guy had an abacus. He was faster than me and he never once made a mistake, ever. The abacus is almost instantaneous. Cash. Not really technology, but I find it amazing that we still use dogs to sniff for drugs and other bad stuff. Crazy to think that in this day and age, with all of our scientific advancements, we haven't been able to invent a machine that can outsniff a canine. Wired peripherals. They're just better.